Yo, what's up guys, and welcome to what's probably the final game of round 1 this evening. This is the rAge Champions powered by Evetech and MSI, and of course we're welcoming aboard a couple new sponsors throughout the week, which is actually fantastic. Getting the name in the game out there. More excitedly, I'm joined by Shase once again. I love casting with you, man. Welcome.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, no, you can get used to it, man. Any opportunity I got, I'm gonna have you right here at my side. Not literally, but figuratively. So, MSI against KaoticZA. This is our matchup we've got for the evening, and this should be a little bit more closely contested than the one we just had.
Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to this one. We know KaoticZA, he's been in the spotlight for a while. He made top 8 at VGL Championships. MSI is, he hasn't been showing himself too much in comps, but he has years and years of Quake experience.
In fact, he actually started XTC based off of Quake in 1999.
Yeah.
Wow, I was only alive for 3 years at that point. Giving away my age here, but that is quite spectacular. I mean, just the tenacity and dedication to be able to guide an MGO through the ages like that is quite spectacular.
Yeah, no, for sure. Lots of respect to MSI on his role in XTC and gaming and Quake in general in South Africa. He's been a prominent member of the community for quite some time.
Yeah, unfortunately we don't have video cameras for our faces, guys. That would be awesome, but yes, I look like trash right now.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would want to look at me right
No
now.
one wants to be seeing me. At least Void's content with the animation in the background. Shout out to Mark. Why don't we get this Vita on the go here? Oh, we already got first map pick, Molten. And then Corrupted Keep for MSI. Okay, so he wants to try and get that aggressive map going. It's a really interesting map, Corrupted Keep, and I'll keep my conversation for when we get there. But I've got a lot of things to ask you about that map. So, going into Molten Falls now. Let's jump on. We can start the draft once these guys are both ready. Yeah, so Molten Falls, of course, the latest map being added to the competitive pool. I wanted to ask, do you think Tempest Shrine will be added? Is that how it goes, that they sort of test a map in pub and then add it to the competitive pool, or how does it really translate?
I don't think it's ever really going to be added to the duel pool. I know it was part of the 2v2 pool for QuakeCon, but I've never really seen it in duel comps. I don't think it plays well to duel. I think maybe some comps have tried it, but it's definitely not something that's being picked up on the regular. So I don't think it's a map we're going to be seeing in duel comps anytime soon.
I'm not a fan at all, but I don't know if there might be some people out there. I don't know. I've played it a couple times in public and wasn't the biggest fan, but I was just wondering if they would add it to the pool and make the pool bigger, or if they would replace, like in Counter-Strike, there's a 7 map pool, and anytime a new map comes in, another one gets taken out, so they sort of recycle through it. So I didn't know if that's the way they work in Quake as well.
Yeah, it's the way they work in StarCraft as well. They sort of start to find the popular maps and sort of start to cycle them.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening for Tempest Shrine. I know they're redesigning one of the least popular maps. I can't even remember the name of it. No one ever votes for it. But it's got lots of poison, and you fall through a gap in the ceiling, and you end up in the middle of nowhere, being shot from everywhere.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking. You
fall
through that gap onto the rocket launcher.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can't remember the name either. Oh, that map has just got way too much going on as well.
Yeah, the biggest problem with that map is that area just above rocket launcher. That whole area is just so terribly designed for Quake and flow. But they're redesigning that completely, so that should be interesting.
That's great. It's always nice when they go back and look at something for a second time because it might not have been so successful, and they try and rework it.
Yeah, I think that says a lot to the developers to actually acknowledge that people complain and don't like that map, and they're actually making an effort to improve it.
Exactly that. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into this. I'm going to start off with MSI's perspective. Yeah, of course, I've seen KaoticZA play a couple of times before, so I want to see what MSI's going to be bringing out. Fairly passive start. You can see both players want to go for that rocket launcher, and MSI is going to make the jump across, and KaoticZA goes for the safe option. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot safer gameplay coming out from these two, just respecting each other more and respecting the space between them.
Yeah, it's actually quite an aggressive sort of route that MSI took off the start here. Typically you would see a player of heavy go to Rail or LG, But to go straight up and drop to rockets, you're expecting the other player to have rocket if you're spawning at heavy. So
Yeah, that's a good point actually. When your opponent spawns at mega, they should get mega and rocket straight away. That's sort of the default.
yeah, exactly. So that was interesting.
And he's a little bit ahead of himself here on the timings. You can see he's made his way back around to heavy, but he did a good job to identify that, because sometimes once you get back to your heavy, you're like, okay, maybe I should just wait a couple seconds. Chaotic might actually be able to steal it from him. He is in position, takes a large amount of damage from the railgun there, and the BJ dual wield actually going to get used defensively just to force Chaotic out of that area of the map, and he might be able to get onto the mega here quick enough. That's really nice movement from MSI, and this is actually a great window of opportunity for him.
Yeah, MSI's picked up a nice amount of control now. He needs to go into a very aggressive stance. He doesn't want to be taking rails like that. He wants to be getting on top of his opponents. Because right now he's got a huge stack advantage, and he should know it because he's just picked up heavy and mega.
Yep, he does, but he's also playing a smart game in the sense that he's not over-committing to a kill in which he might end up still losing. He's still playing the safe game, picking up the mega and the heavy. He's got the timing, he's got the control. Chaotic may just be able to salvage it. The dual wield has come out. He needs to be careful he doesn't get rung out here. He is close to the edge of the map, and it might be Chaotic who's going to get he just goes onto the edge, and he's going to be able to get the kill. So Chaotic with the insignificant stack, or rather the less of the stack, is going to come out on top, and they find each other once again straight off the bat. That nail gun getting large amounts of work done, and he's going to get the heavy. That might keep him alive. No! Yes! Did they kill each other there?
They did, and heavy's
They
still
killed
up.
each other. Wow. Galena versus Galena now.
Health totem initiated.
I'm not a big fan of where MSI's throwing that totem, especially for totem number 1. You definitely want to keep that if you are going for the overstack play. So there's essentially two kinds of modes you can sort of play with Galena. One is playing a more aggressive, keep my totem around because I'm expecting an engagement soon.
Okay.
And then the other is let me build up a totem stack so I can get an overstack.
Yeah.
And he's going for that early totem drop for an overstack, but he's putting it in the middle of nowhere, which is never going to last.
Yeah. Funnily enough, Chaotic was actually playing around it. It doesn't... Oh, no, that was Chaotic's one. Okay, excuse me. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying there. So he either needs to build up a bit of a medical network by placing some sneaky traps around the map or totems where they're not going to get immediately found out.
Yes, the medical network. I like the way you put that.
That was actually, I'm not going to lie, I got that from Static. It's exactly the term that he coined.
Okay, nice. I'll use that in the future.
It does actually work quite nicely. Or you could go for the more aggressive one, and the point of that, for anyone who might not understand, is because if you drop your totem right in front of you, it instantly gives you, I think, 75 health.
It's 50 until you get, well, it's 50 all the time actually. It does 75 damage, but it heals 50 health.
Okay, until you get all 3, then it heals you for 100, right?
It still heals you for 50, but it can heal you above your starting stack.
Oh, okay, I understand. There we go. So both players now down to one champion. Oh, that orb I believe was actually on MSI. I thought he could have telefragged him there if you wanted to.
Yeah, it was very close to a telefrag.
So it is going to be Chaotic to come out with that first round there. Got a bit dicey for him. He found the first two picks, excuse me, and MSI actually was able to get back into that round. MSI, you can see popping that piercing sight very early on, and that's exactly what we spoke about in the last game. That is probably not the best idea to do that.
Yeah, so I mean he got very little out of that, and now he's got no ability to use. Right about now would be a good time to use it.
Yeah, sure, because he wouldn't exactly know where Chaotic is. Let's jump over to Chaotic's POV and see how he's going to be dealing. He's decided to start with the Galena instead of the Visor for this round, so changing it up there. And they're both going to be playing around the Mega. MSI actually able to jump out and steal it from underneath him, and in fact he's going to get around to the heavy first as well. So Chaotic again gifting a lot of space and stack to MSI here. He's going to come around into the trap, actually just missing the mark. He still does make his way forward into it, but Chaotic's so low here. He uses his totem to heal him up a bit, but it's not going to be enough as MSI still does have the superior stack and gets a decent amount of damage done. So again, MSI, or rather in this instance, MSI does find the first pick.
I'm liking the decision making from MSI there. That was good to decide to go on the aggressive. He recognized that his opponent was low.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is going to be a very close series.
Yeah, from what we're seeing already. So it's about knowing that you have the significant stack and there's a window of opportunity for you that you are more stronger than, or you are stronger than your opponent, right? That's what it's about, is using that window.
Yeah, for sure.
You can see now both players trying to get this mega. It is MSI who's sitting on top of it at the moment. He's going to be able to grab it, and in fact,
wow,
the mid-air rocket from MSI going to connect, and that's maximum damage right there.
Yeah, typically I would recommend against using rockets in that position, but you kind of have to get a little bit lucky there.
Yeah, shooting from the lower ground to the higher ground with a rocket is not a favorable thing to do. So Chaotic again here on the back foot. MSI had a great round so far here with this visor. He's actually controlling the mega really well. He may not be too focused on the heavy, but he's keeping that health heavily in his favor, and in fact he's going to be able to get across to the heavy in time as well. So Chaotic just giving too much space to these power-ups. Or rather, not power-ups. What is the name for the heavy and the mega collectively?
Power-ups, that's...
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I call them.
Okay, cool. Alright, well,
that's wrong,
if you call them that,
me as well.
if you call them that, then I've got all the license in the world to call them that as well.
Yeah.
So Chaotic at least is able to get the mega. Oh, a nice railgun shot there from MSI. Just catches Chaotic as he fades away. That's a really important concept in Quake as well. The fade away rail, just trying to get a bit of damage on your opponent so that you can maybe have the favorable exchange right at the end.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really liking this timing from MSI. He seems to be playing a solid game. He's keeping his position high. He's running a strong route.
Yeah, he's keeping Chaotic guessing. And he even has the luxury to go and grab the light arm before he gets the mega. He still doesn't have the mega. Is he trying to take a bit of damage before he grabs it, or?
So what he's doing is actually very smart, because he's not going to die very easily. He's got a decent stack, and he knows he's got mega to fall back on. So he can definitely risk taking some damage, because he knows he's got that mega, and that's going to put him at an advantage immediately, whereas his opponent has nothing to fall back on. Well, in this case, I mean, he's got heavy, but like it's not always that kind of situation.
No, it's not an instantaneous boost up, whereas that mega was for him. Actually, a nice rocket there from Chaotic, not able to capitalize though. And MSI actually, he wants to continue taking the fight here. It's going to cost him wholeheartedly.
Oh, that's very painful. MSI was in such a good position there. He had a huge stack, he closed the distance. That should have been his kill all day, and then he gets that Ranger orb to the face. Just something you've always got to be very wary of. But it's sometimes quite hard to avoid when you can sense blood in the water.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it's quite a wonder how Chaotic is still in this round. I wish you could see statistics for each individual round. I'm pretty sure MSI's got at least 85% of the power up so far.
Well, you can actually see the total, and yeah, I would say those numbers are not too far off. That looks about right.
Yeah, 15 heavies to 1 heavy. That is numbers you don't want to be incurring as the opponent. And Chaotic finds himself in a position he's not too familiar with. He's got a decent stack, and it actually looks like he wants to try and take a fight off the back with a couple nice rockets, and he's actually going to duel against BJ. He's not popping a dual build for some reason, and he might have actually won that fight if he did. Look at the small amount.
Well, he's about to win regardless, but yeah, he definitely should have popped that.
Good point. Only 1 second left on the clock. That's going to be the round timing out, of course. For anybody who's not familiar, the player who has...
that was a huge mistake there, not popping dual wield though. He very easily could have given that up.
Yeah, look, he even says nerves. Just to finish my point, for anyone who's not familiar, the player with the most champions remaining at the 5-minute mark wins the round. If both players have the same amounts of champions, then it goes into sudden death, in which the player to get the first frag wins the round. So, decent use of the piercing sight there. Is it called piercing sight or visor vision?
It is piercing sight.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm really embarrassed to ask these questions on stream because I'm so used to just having the knowledge on the game I'm playing, but I'd rather just ask than say the wrong thing time and time again.
So I mean, the technical name is piercing sight, but no one's going to fault you for calling it visor vision.
Alrighty. Well, I've been calling it piercing sight, so that's cool. Anyway, getting back into it, Chaotic actually has a decent stack to work with, and it looks like he wants to try and take the aggressive push here. This is, you can see what he's doing a good job compared to MSI is he's not taking head-on fights even when he has the advantage. He's still just trying to get a bit of damage down. Now he actually sees an opportunity, but MSI's got the dual wields. This is probably a fight that Kaotic doesn't want to be taking, and suddenly lands a couple of good rockets. The LG coming through as well, and that's going to be Kaotic finding the first frag of this third round.
Shame. That looked like nerves got the better of MSI there. I feel like he should have come ahead in that situation.
Yeah.
But did you see that that gauntlet switch for a second? That was his fingers not finding the right place there.
That's one of those things. It's so frustrating. You're trying to get the LG out or something, and the gauntlet comes through. Kaotic very low here. Actually, does a bit of self-damage with that rocket. He's in trouble here. In fact, MSI's actually going to let him get away. Do you agree with this decision here by MSI to rather just go replenish his stack?
No, not really. I think he could have stayed a bit longer there, but I mean, it's always it's easy in hindsight, right? I mean, we can see their health stacks very clearly, and from his point of view, he's not as sure as we would be, so you can't really fault him on that decision.
It's the safer decision, which is generally going to result in less surprising results. So you can't fault him for that, I suppose. And looking for the rockets from above here. Strong position to use the rocket launcher. This could get caught up from the teleporter. 160 damage coming through. Goes for the LG now. Both players actually taking a lot of damage. Kaotic going to try and return back to the RG, or the RL rather. And MSI, well, he says, "All right, I'm just going to go grab some stack then, man. You can play the passive game." And he's actually going to be able to get the heavy as well. So Kaotic is looking incredibly weak compared to MSI at this point. And you can see this engagement's probably going to be coming through quite strongly. No, still, MSI just allowing him to back away, and he doesn't want to take a fight that he might end up losing. Nice railgun there. Oh, but MSI following up with one of his own. Whatever you can do, I can do better.
Yeah, big mistake from Kaotic there, putting himself in a position he knows he can get railed while being railable. It's never really a position where you want to trade rails if you're actually railable, so he probably died unnecessarily there.
Yeah, sure. Maybe sort of one of those things that when you take your railgun you want to reposition straight away afterwards, not hang around. There's a nice shot from Kaotic. Looks to follow it up, and just missing those shots unfortunately. And when your opponent starts to pull out the LG, there's so much pressure on you. MSI not exactly sure what gun he wants to use. He's going from the LG to the rail into the rocket launcher. None of them really coming with the success he was looking for.
Tri-bolt would have been quite nice there as well.
Void, I will not call him Shase. This is something I'm doing my utmost to work on my system. don't try me, please. Oh man. Okay, MSI, you need some armor at this point. You can see Kaotic's actually he's getting a little bit more warmed up with his movement now, getting a little bit more aggressive, and MSI is trying to get the timing on this mega. Yeah, eventually it does come through for him, and that's going to mean Kaotic's going to back off. Nice prediction there, heading up towards the TP. Doesn't unfortunately land the shots.
I gotta say, MSI's definitely impressing me more with the way he's playing Quake. I don't think his aim, particularly LG, is quite as good.
Okay.
But he's playing a very solid game in terms of item control.
Yeah, he certainly is. It's just maybe his item combination that may be letting him down a little bit. So both players down a champion here as we head into the final 15 seconds of the round. Probably means whoever gets the next kill here wins the round, and it is MSI who picks it up straight away. That's bad news bears for Kaotic, and you can see he's not even instantly respawning.
We need to regroup.
Yeah, that's the end of the round.
Given up on that, yeah. Especially on a map like Molten Falls, where there is just such big chambers and large spaces. It's not frequent, or it's not easy to just find your opponent and get a quick kill.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen, and even on a small map it's unlikely. Your best bet is spawning as Ranger and getting a magical orb, but on such a large map probably not going to happen.
Yeah, that's it, and he had a Galena to work with as his final champion as well. They're going to run straight into each other. Yeah, look at this aggression coming out from them. MSI going for the dual wield. He can't land his LG shots. Somehow Kaotic just standing right in front of him still comes out on top with the... Was that the super shotgun he had at least?
It was.
Okay.
sure. That was a very interesting engagement there. Very, very aggressive from MSI. I'm not a huge fan of that kind of aggression. I know Phantom does these kinds of crazy things at times, but I prefer to just be a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that can play for you or against you just as easily in either direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Manimal now going to be down to his lane as well. That means we got a mirror battle here going on between the two of them. And actually, nice preempt there from Manimal. Nearly holds the angle for long enough. That's one of those things that, you know, this game comes down to such fine timings that really there's so much that can go on in that small amount of time. And one of those things where you're holding an angle as soon as you look away. I'm sure you've watched a couple of your streams back where you were holding an angle and someone came around the corner the mere second you ran.
It's like a curse.
Yeah. Now coming around the corner, that trap going to come into play here, healing Kaotic up, and that might actually be the differentiating factor here at this point. Manimal again making his way back and going to be trying to round out back around to the Mega.
I would love to see Manimal using these totems more often. He seems to be using some kind of mix between putting them in the middle of nowhere and trying to save one.
So, I mean, a map like Molten Falls, there aren't really any hidey corners, are there? I mean, the corners are generally quite wide and open on this map. I don't know where you'd ideally hide
so
them.
I wouldn't like to hide them. I would like to just cover all teleport exits.
Okay.
So I actually had a game against Void a little bit earlier today, and I think he ran over probably like 15 totems placed throughout that game.
Oh wow.
And I was basically just placing them at the end of teleports. So like, if they stay up, then great, and if they don't, then he's probably going to walk into them, and that's probably going to be the way he kills them. But don't just put it in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, at least give it a chance. And what you just said about outside of corners, that's always a really high effective place to put them. Of course, there's no chance for your opponent to dodge them as they come through, and it's something that I think he's actually done now. He's dropped one outside of that portal at the top tier.
Yeah, that's great. It's just a little bit too far forward.
As you can see, Kaotic runs straight into it.
There we go.
Yeah, when you're moving at such a speed, it doesn't make much of a difference, but you're right. Ideally, you want to put it right outside of the portal. They're going to end up face to face here. Again, the rocket launcher getting a lot of damage down here for Kaotic. In fact, he's got Manimal incredibly low. Tries to finish off with the railgun. He needs to be careful here. Manimal does heal up slightly with the totem, so that's going to give him a bit of an extra buff, but still, Kaotic with the significant health stack. That heavy is just going to spawn, and Manimal grabbing it, but he's going to use the jump pad to get back out. That left him vulnerable for a second there. Not really a position anyone really likes to be in. Again, they're going to end up face to face with this LG from Kaotic coming through. He needs to be careful, he's losing quite a lot of health. Manimal is going to find the kill, so he's now 1 kill away from closing out this first map. This would be quite an upset. Shase?
I guess it would technically based on tournament results, but I gotta say at this point, I think Manimal's playing a more solid game of Quake.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not speaking about an update considering from what we've seen here, because Manimal has been certainly playing better at this point. And have a look at this, actually Kaotic answering back straight away as he gets a large amount of damage done on Manimal. He's trying to back off here, but it looks like no, unfortunately not. Just going back to my points, I was just saying that the winner, or who you would have expected to win this game before the matchup actually started, probably would have been Kaotic, as we spoke, from tournament experience. But
yeah, I probably would have
watching
given him
this
the
game
edge.
alone, Manimal is giving us something to consider.
What's quite interesting as well is if Manimal does win this, he'll play the winner of GOAT and Real, and if that's GOAT, which I think it is, I think Real might be a no-show. It's quite fun because these two are actually good friends in real life.
Okay.
And I think they have quite some camaraderie going, so that'll be a great match to watch.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's always great when there's a bit of context or backstory to match up. And have a look at this Kaotic. He smells blood in the water and he's going to be able to get the kill. So all of a sudden, he actually salvages the round. I didn't even realize there was only 15 seconds left when he got that kill. Manimal now has to get another kill and to close out this map. Kaotic, if he gets one, we're going to a 5th round, and it's looking like it might be the latter at this point. He's going to be able to close Manimal off. He lands a nice railgun shot, but Kaotic still applying the pressure. Good repositioning from him. And he is going to get the kill, so coming back strong in that 4th round.
Wow, well played from Kaotic in the last minute or two on that round. That was a good comeback.
Yeah, that was a really nice comeback. And it's a bit tough when you're the underdog and you start to get within touching distance of winning the map. Sometimes that plays on you.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure you could even speak from experience to a degree playing against Phantom. Would you say that that's a factor when you're about to close out a map? Does that begin to play on your mind, or have you been in that position so many times that it's sort of something you don't struggle with?
No, it certainly plays a factor. When you take your mind off the game and start thinking about results, you're already doing something wrong. Like, ideally, your mind should only be focused on the game at hand. If you're ever thinking about results, like, you need to kick yourself and stop, because that's certainly going to start triggering your nerves. So if you're like looking at the game results and you're like, I need one more kill and then I'm going through to the next round, it's not where your mind should be.
Yep, 100%. It needs to be each kill carries the same weight and you focus until the game is done, really.
That's it.
But that's a very difficult skill to hone as well. It takes a lot of discipline and experience to get to that point. And getting into the 5th round now, KaoticZA honing a couple of rockets and going to try and get down to the Mega. Both players need to be careful here. MSI actually catching huge amounts of damage from those rockets. He's also going to get forced out of the area. This is a great opportunity for KaoticZA. MSI trying to wrap around to the heavy. It's still 7 seconds away from spawning though, which means that he's going to be waiting a little bit before it spawns, and you can see again he's forced out of the area. It's just too much time, unfortunately, for him to sit around and wait, and this is now a solid 15-20 seconds where MSI's going to have his back up against the wall.
Yeah, what's quite interesting now is MSI's probably had control for most of this map so far, and now it looks like KaoticZA's getting his chance to do the cycles and the items, so it's really up to MSI now to play a highly defensive game and see if he can pick up an item steal or two.
Well, 2 seconds left on the clock for the heavy. Both of them are going to be pitching up here at the same time. MSI does just grab it in time. He pops the BJ dual wield as well. That's going to just scare KaoticZA off enough that he's not going to be chasing him down, which probably favors MSI slightly considering the stack. 7 seconds left on the clock now. It looks like MSI may be able to grab that Mega just in time. KaoticZA is back, doubling back around yet to get control. Of course, he has a much better understanding of the timing. And, looks like, no, not just yet. MSI somehow again able to get up by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah. It looked like KaoticZA and MSI had both lost track of Mega timing there. I don't think that fight should have actually happened where it did.
Massive timing still. These players are waiting for the heavy already, and that's when things start to get awkward, when there's still so much time left and neither player, I mean, maybe the guy who picked it up earlier sort of lost track on the timing, and both guys are just hovering around waiting for it to spawn, and when there's still like 15 seconds left, that can start to get a bit messy.
Yeah, so it looks like at least MSI should be aware of Mega timing, but KaoticZA's lost timing on heavy.
It is up at the moment, so at least he's going to be able to.
Okay, here we go. We're returning to some level of normalcy.
Yeah, but there is at least a 12-second gap between the two of them at the moment, so that means one of the players might be able to capitalize on that.
Death is the only release.
And you can see KaoticZA is actually lining his totems up in a bit of a passageway here, so should MSI fly through without being cautious, he might catch a couple of 75 stacks of damage. Or 75 damage a hit, rather.
Yeah.
And he's going to try and grab the heavy here. Again, KaoticZA just giving him a bit too much room. Both of them looking for each other. That dual wield going to be coming through. Uses the totem to heal up. He's not yet low enough, I don't think. And with 7 seconds left on the clock, he's going to go back to the Mega. MSI needs to get down on the platform here as well. KaoticZA does have the time cues to work with. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to stop MSI from getting that Mega though. Both players still looking for their first frag of the round. And this is when it starts to get intense. You're in the 5th round. Both of you haven't had your first kill yet. Whoever wins this one, of course, gets the first map. And when you start to enter the stage of the map or the round, generally whoever gets the first kill is going to win the round. KaoticZA is taking quite a lot of damage here. He needs to be careful. At least there's that health level to help him out. MSI knows that he has him low and he's going to come back with the rail.
Wow, and all of that without dual wield. That should have been dual wield for days there.
Yeah, why does he keep doing this? Oh, they're going to end up on top of each other again. KaoticZA has a chance to get a kill, but MSI still gets it, and that's probably him solidifying the first map in his favor.
It should be. He should not be looking for engagements right now at all.
This is quite interesting that he's still hanging around here, giving KaoticZA a chance. Looks like he might actually close it out. Yeah, KaoticZA not in a position to fight this, even though he needs to get kills. If he dies, the game's over. So, with only 10 seconds left, that should be GG.
Yeah, there's no winning from here. You gotta kill him twice, it's not gonna happen. So the first map goes to MSI, bit of an upset on the first one.
Damn. Okay, so there we go. Chaotic just showing ultimate frustration towards the end there with the suicide. Oh man. Okay, so that is quite an interesting result. MSI picking up map number 1. Of
Sure,
course.
and this is quite intense now because Chaotic has actually made top 8 in the VGL Championships, and he made top 8 at Rush.
Yeah.
And if he loses this, he's not going to be making top 8.
Let's have a look at the pickups quickly. On MSI's side, we have 63 pickups as opposed to 24 on the side of Chaotic. That is a massive difference, Shase.
Yeah, for sure. But
Quite
like as we
frankly,
saw,
it doesn't matter who you are. Sorry to interrupt you there. It doesn't really matter who you are. If your opponent has got such an advantage in their stack, the amount of damage you're dealing is just getting completely negated.
yeah, MSI's definitely demonstrating that he's better at cycling the items here. I'm not sure if Chaotic just plays the same way, there's going to be any different result. Because if MSI just keeps picking up that stack advantage, their aims aren't different enough that Chaotic can just like sort of overwhelm him.
Yeah, that's a good point you make. He can't rely
So-
on his aim wholeheartedly to bridge the gap between the fact that he's getting so much more of a stack, and that's MSI, of course, I'm referring to. So, Corrupted Keep, our second map.
Yeah, and this was MSI's choice, right?
This was actually Chaotic's choice.
Oh, it was a Chaotic's
MSI
choice.
went with the Corrupted Keep pick.
Chaotic pick Molten. MSI's picking Corrupted.
Yes, exactly what I said.
Oh, is it? Sorry, I'm
Yes.
getting confused here.
That's okay.
Let me
Which
check if
it's
these guys are
it's
ready.
interesting because Chaotic has lost his own map pick.
Yeah, but what's more interesting is that I think these guys have actually picked maps backwards. I think this map will favor Chaotic a little bit over MSI because MSI's asking for 1 minute. All right. So MSI seems to have an easier time controlling items and cycling them consistently. But Corrupted doesn't typically play that well to that. I mean, it's obviously super important, right? It's always going to matter in any game of Quake, but
Yeah.
because this map is so close, you can be highly aggressive and you might get 3 kills down before you even get one player cycling a heavy and a mega at the same time. So I actually think this map favors Chaotic a little bit. If I was MSI's coach, I would have told him to play a map more like Blood Covenant or Ruins. I think that would probably favor him again.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually, as I said earlier, I wanted to chat to you a bit about this map. And of course, for anyone who doesn't know, the railgun is not on this map. It does not spawn on this map. How does that change the dynamic of Corrupted Keep compared to other maps? You just noticed that it is generally more aggressive. Is that the only factor?
So without rail, it's more about machine gun and nail gun spam from range. If you watch like really good players, and I don't think I've perfected this yet in terms of using MG as much as I can. Okay, both players are already here.
Cool, let's get going. But yes,
But-
as you were saying.
But basically, you're still going to see each other at fairly long range, right? Like from the heavy side toward like rocket side, there's still too
Yeah.
much range for LG. Rockets aren't going to work, so it comes down to machine gun spam and maybe a bit of nails here and there.
Okay.
So the player that's typically going to do the most damage between item pickups gets to determine how the next fight is going to go. So, like particularly for me against Phantom, Phantom was very good at this in our finals at VGL Championships, and basically I couldn't fight for items on even ground because going into any item, I'd already lost my previous high item. So it makes it very tough if you're losing damage significantly at those long ranges.
Yeah. 100%, especially when you don't have the railgun to just sort of answer back instantaneously, because that damage comes over time with the machine gun and the nail gun. You know what I mean? It's not really one of those things that you can just get a quick 90 done. If they've chipped you down for 100 with the MG, you don't have an instantaneous reply.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just like instantly take it back and then fight for an item.
Yeah.
It's more like a damage over time thing. You just need to be consistent and always taking every second you see the guy, you need to be hitting him with 10 or 20, you know?
Yes, exactly. It's also one of those maps, I believe, that you can very aggressively pursue the Mega, both players, from the beginning. And you can actually catch your opponents off guard, that you don't go for the heavy straight away. It's quite an aggressive tactic, but it's something we saw Trent do against Swift Manslayer, I think. I saw he's in the chat, he may be able to attest to this. The fact that Adrenaline completely shut him down with the aggression from the second of the first round. You can see MSI does go for the passive option, but yeah, that's just something I noted.
Yeah, it's actually quite an interesting map in that regard. You can actually play quite validly going in two different directions of the start. On a lot of maps and most spawns, there's one very clear advantage to run in any certain way, but on this map, you have choices.
Yeah, that's quite cool. I mean, of course, the fact that there's a railgun has to compensate in other factors, and that makes sense. Both guys sort of looking to trade the heavy and the mega now in the opposite to which they got them at the start of the game. They can actually run straight into one another here. Quite heavy damage rockets being returned by both players. The Nix this map for MSI, and he's actually got the Death Knight as well, so changing his champions quite significantly going on to Erupted here. And he's actually getting a decent amount of damage done here. He's going to use the Nix trap aggressively as well. Crashes Chaotic completely off guard. That was really nicely done by MSI.
Very nice. I would have liked to have seen him run over that totem while he was invisible as well. It might have given his position away, but it's still a totem down that he might have been able to use in a fight.
So it triggers the totem, but you don't take any damage, is that correct?
Yeah, so it destroys the totem, and you don't take any damage.
Alright, cool, yeah. That's quite powerful. You can see MSI has actually got some really good routes around the map, and shutting down Chaotic, switching out for the LG, and this is an awkward spot that Chaotic now finds himself in. There's not really any easy escape from this position. You can see that MSI's putting heavy firing down, but a nice escape there by Chaotic using the orb, gets himself the mega, that's going to give him a nice boost. MSI just grabbing the heavy there, you feel like that was really important, that he didn't allow Chaotic's Ranger to get too stacked against his Nix.
Yeah, I really like the use of orb to steal that mega, because it's a very tricky position once you're up there by LG. To get down is tough. So he saw an opportunity with orb and he took it, and that was well played. I might just use that in the next time I play.
Yeah. So look at this from MSI. He's holding Nix orb, waiting on top of the mega, looking to potentially get a frag there. Both of them going to be exchanging LG, both of them incredibly low. MSI repositioning here, actually trying to wrap around to the heavy. It looks like Chaotic's going to get there first. The rocket shots doing a ton of damage. Chaotic's still so low, but he's finding the small health bubbles. I think their rocket launchers shot, their rockets actually collided with one another there. Is that a thing? Do they explode in mid-air if they collide?
No, it's not a thing. It certainly looked like it happened.
Okay, so both of them actually not really in a position to take the fight, and sort of waiting for their opponent to make a mistake. MSI at least does get the megas. That's going to give him a little bit more of a boost to work with.
I've actually been a little bit impressed with MSI's LG on this map compared to the first one. He's hitting 30 and Chaotic's hitting 28, which means he's like keeping up. And from the first map I would have given like a heavy aim advantage with LG to Chaotic, but we're not seeing that.
Yeah. Both players hovering around in the area of the mega here, all going to use the portal to get up. This is actually a good decision from MSI. He ends up on top of the mega, but he isn't able to pick it up because he's in Nix's invisibility. He does come out and get a bit of decent damage done, but still, this is a good position for Chaotic to be in. He uses the orb, he gets the heavy as well. So even though MSI's getting all this damage out, it's still not going to be resulting in a kill. He needs to be careful as well. And Chaotic actually waiting patiently underneath him. He may be able to get the kill here. He does. Decent damage. MSI's still able to get away. 7 seconds left on the mega. That's going to give more than enough time for Chaotic to rotate around. Looks like he actually took the longer route to get there, but still MSI's going to be able to get it. So both players still looking for their first kill. Not something that we would have expected going into this map.
Well, MSI's got a kill on Chaotic, so he is one champ up.
Oh, excuse me. He actually does have a kill. Thanks for pointing that out. I saw that, and now with a minute left on the clock, it's up to Chaotic to try and find a kill. 50 seconds now. MSI, of course, he's got Nix, so he's got an easy escape route, and he gets going to find a second kill. MSI just piling on the misery for Chaotic at the stopwatch.
Piling on the misery, indeed. Chaotic actually missed a very good opportunity to get a kill to even it up. He actually had a stack advantage, and he should have had timing on Mega because he collected the previous Mega, and he just wasn't there. And MSI got a free Mega for no real reason, and that's that was a big turning point.
Yeah. That's actually pretty much the difference between the two of them in the game now. KaoticZA trying to take the fights here, of course, only 10 seconds left on the clock. He needs 2 kills. It's just not enough time, frankly, with MSI having Nick's invis as well. But look at this from MSI. He's still, I've noticed the time and time again, even though when he's ahead and he's going into the end of the fight, he's still taking the fight.
Yeah, it almost feels like he's a bit angry with Chaotic, because there was no reason to chase there. You're up 2 heroes, there's not enough time for him to kill you. You can back away into a corner and you can just wait until you need to push F if you ever need to.
Yeah.
But he keeps pursuing to get a kill.
Yeah, I mean, it just maybe says a little bit about his character. Animal now starting with the Death Knight. That's interesting to see this in competitive mode. I haven't seen it in comp yet. I play against him in duels. Makes me want to pull my eyes out.
Oh yeah, incredibly frustrating hero to play against, but super strong and pretty much a pick most of the time in competitive games at the moment.
Yeah, I believe he did get a nerf recently.
He did, but he's still, in my opinion, a little bit too strong. I don't really like the way he plays, but I still pick him because he's too good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you can't beat them, join them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, MSI actually with a great advantage here. Of course, he's got a large stack advantage. When you have a stack advantage going up against a Nyx, that's gives you lots to work with, and you can see nice passive positioning here, the higher ground as well, gives you good bird's eye view, good opportunity to get some 9 damage rockets down as well.
That fall onto Mega there was indicative that he's keeping his timing down to the T.
Yeah.
He knew exactly when that Mega was going up, which is really good. I mean, it's something I'm struggling with at the moment.
Yeah.
To keep timing consistently to the second, and MSI's doing it, yeah. So
They actually walk straight into one another. That heavily favors MSI, though. Of course, Eagle's got way more damage output in a short space of time, and he's going to actually catch Chaotic waiting for the Mega, and you can see there's the downfall of a nice strike the timing Shase. You can see Chaotic pitched up on that platform waiting for Mega, and there's still 5 seconds remaining. Both players just exchanging some fire now, but again, it's MSI who's got the kill, and I can say his movement is even starting to look more fluid. He's starting to make some nice jumps, and he's actually just looking a lot more mobile than he did in the first map. Maybe some confidence starting to come through. He's actually got an opportunity to get another kill here. He needs to be careful himself, though. Also fairly low. That Mega should be grabbed now by Chaotic, so that's going to give him a little boost. Let's jump over to KaoticZA's POV here, see if he's going to be able to get himself back into the second map.
Yeah, so there's still plenty of opportunity for Chaotic to come back into this game.
Yeah, there certainly is. I mean, we're only in the second round here at this point, and Quake is a funny game. Weird things can happen. Actually got a good opportunity to get the higher ground. Oh, what? How much health is MSI on? 1 health and no armor. I had to jump over to his perspective to see if my eyes were deceiving me. I think KaoticZA must have thought the same. Just gave him
Yeah, such a pity there.
Oh man, that is a pity, but the window of opportunity has not closed yet.
Yeah, he also made a small mistake there where he picked up Mega at about the same time he dropped a totem. He could have been on about 30 HP higher than he was.
Okay, so if he had healed himself with the totem and then taken Mega, that would have been a better option.
Yeah, exactly.
So MSI actually just trying to keep as much distance between the two of them as possible, as much as possible at this point. As of course he knows that KaoticZA has got a bit of a chunkier stack. Having said that, he's got the heavy, he's got a couple of light health bars, that actually gives him the advantage. Of course he wouldn't know that exactly, but certainly not looking as weak as he was earlier. Position here, going down very low, still a second left on the clock, but KaoticZA's going to get forced out of the area. MSI gets the Mega, and this is actually really beautiful from MSI, really. I mean, you wouldn't say that 45 seconds ago he was on 1 health with the same champion. How was he able to keep himself alive for so long and replenish his stack and now get his nose in once again?
Oh, if he just kept rockets, I think he had that.
Yeah, unfortunately, again, not coming through there for KaoticZA. So he's now down to his final champion in the second round, all to play for here. 45 seconds left on the clock. He's going to have to get 2 kills, and MSI's looking fairly stacked at this point. It's not an easy prospect. At least he's got a good read on him, and he's got the ring out actually. Uses the orb to get a bit of anti-damage down as well, but oh, MSI with those rockets just too deadly.
I'm starting to feel pretty nervous for Kaotic at this point. Last round, if he loses this, that's set match points. Point, set, match, point, game, set, match. That's done.
It's all of them.
All of them.
So, heading into potentially the final round now, of course, as you said, this is match. And this is close up intro right now. Afraid to take the battle. He is not looking out. He never gets run out there. And it is going to be MSI to find that pick, so not slowing down here whatsoever. Again, changing up his champion order. Good to see diversity coming out from MSI. Also shows a level of confidence that he's not like, oh, this is what worked with me for me previously, I was going to keep doing this. He doesn't allow Kaotic to get a decent read on his playstyle as well.
Yeah, for sure. MSI's playing very well. It's hard to see Kaotic making a comeback at this point.
I wanted to actually ask you, what do you make of that? Do you think it's better? Or, of course, you can only speak for yourself, but personally, do you prefer using the same rounds, or do you also like to mix it up?
It's not really dependent on whether I'm winning the rounds or not. It's more dependent on what I think my opponent's gonna pick.
Okay.
So, if I know, for example, they're playing Ranger first, I would probably not play something like a Visor. I think Ranger plays very well against Visor, so if I expect my opponent to pick Ranger first, I wouldn't pick Visor first. So it just depends on what I expect my opponent to pick.
Okay, yeah, there is that factor of trying to counter your opponents. It's, of course, you don't have knowledge of who their first champion is when you're your first champion, so there is a level of guesswork involved.
Yeah, it's a little bit of rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, trying to call a bluff as well, maybe making a prediction, whatever it may be.
Yeah, fortunately I don't find people play a lot of mind games at the moment in that regard. Usually I'm correct in my prediction what my opponent plays, and a lot of the time for lesser players it's just going to be the champion they pick first in the selections. That's usually the champion they play first.
Alright, there we go guys. Swift Manslayer, don't pick your first champion that you're going to be first. You heard it here first. No, this is fairly low. Yeah, he's still going to come out with the kill. It's just way too much for Kaotic to deal with. He's gotten a couple of kills with him, and Kaotic hasn't actually been able to kill the Death Knight yet, so he is do or die right now, Shase. This is not a position any player likes to be in. Lose one more champion and you lose the match. Get eliminated from the competition.
Yeah, so hopefully he shouldn't be thinking like that at all though.
Yeah, of course you can't be thinking about that. It is a natural trait of a human being, and he is still going to get the kill. Guys,
wow.
He's getting murdered
this
out here.
game ends, I'd like to say please would you subscribe to my channel. Once I get to 100 subscriptions, I can have a custom URL and not just a ton of random characters. That would make me feel a lot better about my life. So, Kaotic evening things out here as he does take it to one champion apiece. Nyx versus Nyx.
So this is a very fun matchup, Nyx versus Nyx. We can see lots of fancy tricks and lots of mistakes in decision making tend to be the decider rather than. That was
that's a huge rocket. Yeah, I mean, something that is quite interesting about this matchup is that when both of them go invisible, they can see each other because essentially they go to the same dimension. Look at Kaotic, he's getting so aggressive. He wants to take the fight. He's careful. He's very low. He's going to use his invisibility. He does. MSI and grabs the heavy off the back of it. Kaotic's going to be able to get the mega at least, so that gives him quite a lot to work with. He actually catches MSI off guard here.
That was a lot of damage.
Somehow he's turned the table, the tide around here, gotten himself into position to potentially actually close out this third round and keep himself in it.
Kaotic is not paying nearly enough attention to getting small armors. He doesn't seem to care at all about them, and it's giving him a huge disadvantage.
Oof. Yeah, that is, I've noticed they are underrated. They give you 50 armor. That's half of the heavy. They are very, very valuable.
Yeah, they're
Just
huge.
coming at you from KaoticZA. Tries to set the trap and catch MSI off guard. The MSI still gets a decent return damage down, and wow, this is just really tooth and nail between the two of them in this third round here. KaoticZA fighting with absolutely everything he's got. A massive rocket comes through from MSI. That's going to force KaoticZA off of the heavy. He uses his invisibility to set a trap, gets a lot of damage done, and he is going to be able to close it out. MSI with a fantastic third map, or second map there. Shase, he closes it out 3-0.
Yeah, sure. That wasn't quite what I predicted or expected. I really feel like KaoticZA, he really made huge mistakes in terms of not picking up small armors. There were so many times when he had like a small armor probably up on either side of Mega, and he would instead just charge straight to heavy and he would be down like to 0 armor. It was not ideal.
So that is going to be KaoticZA eliminated and MSI progressing. I'm selfishly, I mean, props to Dwayne or KaoticZA, but I'm keen to see MSI progressing. Who does he, as you said, he plays against Real or Goat, and that could set up quite an interesting matchup. I mean, I'd love to see MSI actually progress to the LAN finals. I think that would be phenomenal.
Well, Goat's a good friend of mine, so I might be a little bit biased there in hoping that Goat ends up winning that one. But it's certainly going to be a very close game. I think it'll be a good one to watch.
Yeah, we'll definitely try and get the stream on that. I mean, I'm going to try and actually stream every single game in round 2. So guys, just for the people who are playing in round 2 and listening right now, please make sure that you give me communication of exactly when your game's going to be, and let's try and schedule it around one another, in which we're going to have consecutive games, not 3 or 4 games being played at the same time where you can only cover one. So Shase, once again, it has been an absolute pleasure casting with you. Next time I'll be probably casting your game, but either way,
Yeah, should be lots of fun.
I'd love to get a couple other players behind the mic sometime as well. Just off the top of my head, Void would be great.
Maybe a
Static,
Phantom.
experienced Phantom, of course. Oh man, that'd be a good experience too. But we do have a decent amount of experienced Quake players in South Africa.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for the opportunity, man. It was lots of fun, and I'll see you from the player side in round 2.
Yeah, certainly. Look forward to seeing you again at rAge as well. Guys, thank you so much for dropping by. I hope you enjoyed the stream tonight. Like I said, please drop a sub. I'd really appreciate that. I'm just going to go to some music for now. And guys, if you want to just check out when the rest of the games will be, follow me on social media at HeyCSGO. Just keep track of when the games are going to be. Anyway, guys, from myself and Shase, thanks a lot and enjoy the rest of your evening.
We'll take care.
Every time I close my eyes, I see your face. I'm longing for your kisses and your sweet embrace. You're saying you need time and that you need your space, and you don't know if things will ever be the same. Well, I will wait for you, and I'll do anything that you want me to. Just let me into your heart. Let me into your heart. Just let me into your heart. Let me into your heart. Big thing, and you say big thing, and you ever be We see the sunrise in front of